Welcome back to Geek Culture 101, your home for all things geek. I finally got a chance to watch Karate Kid Legends, a film that's been getting a whole lot of hate from longtime fans. Because of that, and some of the information I learned going in, I was, needless to say, a little apprehensive, especially since the original films are some of my all-time favorites. I even, for the most part, like The Karate Kid Part 3, don't completely hate the next Karate Kid, and actually enjoyed the 2010 Jackie Chan film, though we all know it should have been titled The Kung Fu Kid. I also really love most of the Cobra Kai series. So when I heard Legends was going to tie the original trilogy with the Jackie Chan version, I was excited. And then the early promos came out, and it actually looked exactly like what I really wanted it to be. It was going to balance both worlds in a very deep way. So did it find balance? Or get squished like a grape? Well, before we get into that, fair warning, there may be spoilers here. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, consider this your heads up. Karate Kid Legends is, well, an interesting turn. In some ways, it's exactly what it was promoted as. In others, it's absolutely not. We start off in China at Mr. Han's Kung Fu School. It's fairly large and honestly, not what I imagined for the character. And overall, he feels a bit different than he did in that film. It's like we've got a parody of him almost, but not quite. It's just a little off, but not necessarily a bad thing. You know, a lot of time has passed, so maybe it's just character development, but it is still noticeable. That's where we meet our main character, Li Fong, played by Ben Wang, who's hiding from a woman that turns out to be his mother. It's implied that something bad happened to his sibling because of his connection to Kung Fu, but the film leaves it very vague at this point. We then find out that they're moving to America, which in some ways mirrors elements of what we've seen in both the original Karate Kid and the 2010 version, but without any emotional weight. I mean, seriously, in the 2010 film, I felt it was a little rushed and lacked a little bit of development by the characters for that portion of it, but there's really not much emotional weight in it. It's like Lee expresses that he's upset about not being asked, but beyond that, there's really no depth to the emotion. And then it jumps to New York City after they just got done flying from China. Lee's hungry and heads out to grab some pizza. What follows is a scene where he orders a stuffed crust pizza and the shop owner makes a weirdly big deal out of it. It's like a strange attempt at humor that doesn't quite land. This is also where we meet Mia, played by Sadie Stanley, the love interest of the film. There's some light flirting and small talk, but not much substance. Things move fast from here, and they run into each other again. He helps her with some deliveries. They pass a karate school tied to her past and her ex-boyfriend. But again, the film keeps moving forward without giving anything room to breathe. There's a strange scooter scene that leads to the engine breaking down, them getting on a train, a brief encounter with Mia's ex that is meant to be a throwback to the original film, but it falls flat. Lee ends up with a black eye, tries to hide it from his mom, and Mia's dad helps her put makeup on to kind of conceal it, but it's just an excuse really for him to tell his backstory of how he owns a pizza shop and was a former boxer and owes these loan sharks money. These little character moments are interesting, but again, too rushed to add any real depth. The film then cranks up the speed even more. Lee's mom finds out about the fight. Lee loses a fight to the ex in the schoolyard, saves Mia's dad from some of the loan shark's goons, and we learn his brother had been killed by a rival from a kung fu tournament. It just is meant to reference, the fact that Lee has PTSD, I guess. But again, it's all so rushed that it just doesn't build up to anything. It almost plays out like a montage. Eventually, Mia's dad loses a boxing match that he's fighting in just to try to win money to save pizza after Lee had trains him in Kung Fu. It's all just so fast. From there, Lee gets fed up with Kung Fu and stops taking Mr. Han's calls. So Han flies to New York, sneaks into Lee's apartment and jumps him in the dark for one of the best, but unfortunately brief fight scenes. This leads to Han learning the full story and getting Lee back into training. Han then suddenly jumps into a plane and flies to California to find Daniel LaRusso, who he shares his history with Mr. Miyagi with, and eventually asks for help. The whole scene is rather rushed, and Daniel declines with very little explanation, but Han says he knows he'll help him because Lee means as much to him as Miyagi felt about Daniel. Lee finds a new rooftop place to train thanks to a random new character that's supposedly tutoring him, and the story keeps speeding forward. There's some romance drama, a misunderstanding with Mia's ex, and then, Daniel reappears for some awkward humor and underwhelming training scenes with Han. It all builds up to a rush tournament that includes some odd graphics and sound effects that every time a point is scored, pop up and take away from the fight. It really kills what little momentum, in a good way, is left. I mean, really, you can't enjoy the fights where these effects popping up every few seconds. Even the final scene that's supposed to be the greatest fight of all, it's just lackluster. It's all just quick but interrupted by the stupid graphics. It's also worth noting Han and LaRusso's screen time combined, it's only about 35 minutes total. So don't go in expecting them to be in a majority of this film, because they are not. Now, you've probably noticed I've said a lot of negative sounding things about this film. So did I hate it? Actually, no. I enjoyed it for what it was. It just needed to slow down and give more time for character development and story development. It needed to build the story from the ground up. Let us get emotionally invested. There are a lot of subplots that could have been compelling, but the pacing doesn't let anything settle. That said, it's fun in places, has a few solid nods to the past, and does a decent job tying the various Karate Kid worlds together. I just wish we got more of Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, and that their roles weren't so limited by the film's speed. Is it a nostalgic cash grab? Oh, absolutely. But it's still worth watching. Just don't expect it to win over a bunch of new fans. Hopefully we get an extended cut someday that fleshes out a little more of this, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Also, one last thing, stick around after the ending logo. There's a quick bonus scene with Daniel and Johnny that ties it to Cobra Kai. It's fun, but definitely an afterthought. So what's my final verdict? I give the Karate Kid Legends 3.5 crane kicks to the face out of 5. So that's it for now, y'all. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And until next time, stay geeky, my friends. Stay geeky.
Geek Culture 101, your home for all things geek, where passion drives us every day of the week. From gaming quests to tech's next best, we're diving deep into a geek's best. Movies, anime, and pop culture dreams, we're the geeks who live in wild extremes. From gaming nights to sci-fi streams,